Welcome along to 98 Not Out. Thanks for joining today's show. Remember, spread the word, tell your friends. Today we're going to be talking IPL with Kabir Floyd, so let's get into it. Matt, great to see you again. Welcome back. I've lost count of how many times you've been on the show now. It's a few now, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon what, 4 or 5. I've
Yeah.
recorded a few other bits for you on the road. It's been a while. When was the
And
last
you've
time
been
we
you've
did
been to
this?
the studio as well. One of the rare people that's been actually into Phoenix FM towers in deepest, darkest Brentwood.
Too, I saw how the magic happens. There in person, behind the scenes, you twiddling all your buttons.
Yes, yes, trying to somehow make everything work, but we do our best. We do our best.
You do a great job. Great job.
Oh, you're very kind. You're very kind. Now it's the cricket season is here. As we're talking, we're sort of both looking out the window at very kind of playing conditions, I would go as far as saying.
Mm.
Would you
Yeah,
bat or bowl?
bowl. And I wouldn't field in the slips. Still a bit cold, isn't it? You don't want one flying through at sort of face height, do you, at first slip? I think, but you're right, yeah, you're just starting to feel like the season's starting now, aren't you? You go out to your club and you smell that fresh cut grass, and you can see the pitch is being cut by the groundsman. And I think we're still nesting indoors, actually, my club. I'm not playing anymore, but you get to this point of the year and you're like, right, I'm done indoors now. I want to get outside. I don't care how cold it is. Just get out on the Astro, feel that sun. And then once you've had that first net, then you're into it, right? Then you're like, okay, this is it.
So, as people keep saying to me, why do you do a show all year round? Surely cricket season runs from May to September. Well, it doesn't. Well, it does here, but there's cricket going on absolutely everywhere, all around the world these days. A lot of it seems to be going on in India. I've recently had conversations with people about the women's under 19s World Cup. We've been talking about the Champions Trophy, but I'm here to talk to you today about the IPL, which has just got underway. It's in its first week still. This is it the 18th edition?
Yes, it is IPL 18. You're right.
And does you watch these things very, very closely, closer than I do. Does it get bigger and better every year? Is it something that's still growing and growing?
Well, it does in terms of runs. If you're a batter, it gets bigger and better, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a behemoth, isn't it? The
Yeah.
IPL. It's still, in my opinion, the best cricket tournament in the world by a distance. All of the stadiums pretty much are sold out because they have that connection with the fans now. They're very good, all of them, at creating atmosphere. So if you go to Chennai, there'll be a sea of yellow. They really buy into the whole Super Kings thing now, like I said, flags waving. They've all got people whipping up the crowd, fantastic sound systems. It's the whole experience. It's completely different to any other cricket you'll see. And obviously the standard of cricket is still, I would say, is the best in terms of T20 cricket, apart from maybe World Cups. But IPL is the best franchise tournament still. And yeah, in terms of runs, I mean, it's a bit of an outlier now, isn't it? It's really gone in favour of the batters, that the balance has tilted massively since last year. In fact, it was increasing really the last sort of 2, 3 years in terms of average runs scored. Last year felt was a big tipping point. They hit more sixes by a mile last year than any other year. I think the average run rate was something like 9.5. So your average score is what, 190? That's your average score last year. I think 5 of the 6 highest scores ever made in the IPL were scored last year.
Oh,
Massive scores. The highest score was 287. Well, if you thought that was good, this year, the first 5 games, they've started off even better than that. They hit more sixes in the first 5 games this year than they did last year. Already, Sunrisers Hyderabad almost broke their own record. They got 286, so they were 1 run short of that. I think we've had 5 out of 10 innings over 200 already. Some huge scores. I did a game the other day. 2-4-4 was scored, 2-4-3 by Punjab, and you didn't really feel they were safe until the last 3-4 overs of the game when actually they looked like they're going to lose, and then a couple of good overs and they brought it back. So, yeah, it feels like things have changed in the IPL now, and it's just going to be a place where you need to get 220 if you're going to have any chance of winning, which is exciting. But
Yeah,
some of us also like to see the bowlers have something and the balance not to be tilted too much.
I was going to say because headlines were made over here of Jofra Archer taking some tap, going for the worst. He returned the worst figures in IPL history, didn't he? Of his 4 overs, 76
Yeah.
runs. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what we
Well,
can really read into that.
well, he had a bad day, didn't he? I mean, that doesn't change the fact he's a very good bowler. I think it was a perfect storm playing against an ultra aggressive side, probably the most aggressive side in the world. Flat pitch, short boundaries. Once you start off badly, as he did in that first over, I think Travis Head went after him early on. It's very hard to bring it back. I'm still obviously massively surprised that he went for so many
Yeah,
runs.
yeah.
And maybe he needed to change up a few things, mix his pace up a little bit more. But you can have a bad day at the office, especially against those Sunrisers batters. They are right in your face and very, very good ball strikers. The one person who'll be very happy will be Mohit Sharma because he broke the record last year in the IPL. I think he went for 74 or something like that. And now Joffrey's got that record off him, which I'm sure he doesn't want.
Well, I suppose from the way you're talking about the trajectory of IPL totals, that probably won't be around too much longer either. Someone else is going to get whacked for even more.
Yeah, yeah, probably. And also the higher score. So 287. The big question probably this year is a team going to score 300 in
Yeah.
a T20 match? And to be honest, I would be surprised if it didn't happen. The way things are going and the way that they've started this tournament, somewhere, some team is going to get really hot. A couple of batters are going to get in and they're going to get over 300. I really think it's going to happen.
Crazy, isn't it? Because it wasn't that long ago that 300 was a decent ODI score.
Yeah, it still is. On certain pitches, England would bite your hand off for 300 in a
Yeah.
50 over game.
You just touched on something that I find quite interesting. You were saying about in Chennai and the stadium being a sea of yellow. Um, One of the criticisms over here, this has been one of the biggest criticisms leveled at the 100. Um, and I suppose there's a wider conversation about franchise cricket in general that people are so used to, people want to be tribal about who they support. They want to support their county, they want to support their country. Franchise cricket is bringing in new teams and new dynamics to everything. Um, and it's interesting to hear that in the IPL, you're now starting to see fans really getting into it, buying into their team, supporting them, wearing the colours, etc. Do you think the idea is that this will spread throughout the world, even to the 100, maybe?
Well, the IPL, it took them a while, right? I mean, they have been going, as you say, for 18 years now. 100's been going for what, 4 or 5 years. So hard to compare on that front. But I do think the IPL did a really good job of making it tribal. And India is a tribal place. That's the thing. There is a lot of competition. The cultures are very different from city to city, speak different languages, wear different clothes, eat different food. So if you have teams in different cities like that, it's easier to create that tribalism. And they were very good at marketing the teams and there was no sort of overlap really between them. I think they can do it in 100. I think it's harder. You also don't have the passionate support that you get in India. So I'm not sure we're going to get to, that sort of level where you're at Chinnaswamy in Bangalore and the whole stadium's going RCB, RCB, and it's shaking, literally shaking.
Yeah,
We're not going to get that because, in England, we support in a different way. But I do think that they can work on that tribalism a little bit more. And I think as it goes on, I think we will get more of that. I think people will get more attached to their teams. But it's such a new tournament,
yeah.
four
I'm just
years or
wondering
whatever it
if
is.
with the more active involvement and ownership of stakes in the 100 by these IPL franchises, that
Mm,
maybe they will bring some of their expertise and what they've learned from the IPL
yeah.
and apply that to what we might see going forward in the 100.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one of the main reasons why they sold some of the franchises to the IPL owners, because you would hope they would bring that with them. And maybe there'd also be a bit of crossover. So, for example, Sanjeev Goenka and Lucknow Super Giants, they own Manchester Originals, don't they now? 70%, I think they own. So, maybe you're going to get some LSG players coming over and playing for the Originals in the future. There might be some sort of tie-in with branding, with kits. You probably get some Indian fans, Lucknow Super Giants fans coming over to the UK and going up to Manchester and buying tickets and supporting the team. So all of that you would think would help. And I think the marketing side of it, definitely there are things that the 100 can pick up from the IPL. And I do think we'll see a big influence in the next few years.
Yeah, I think that's the one that would really move the needle is if we got some of these big Indian names coming over.
Yeah.
If there's now an influence from the franchise owners, and if you started to see Indian players playing in the 100, you would definitely see. I mean, we know that over here in England, that there are massive Indian communities, and every time India play, I mean, they're coming touring this summer. Lords is sold out, and I think a lot of the other test grounds around the country. There is a huge Indian following here. So if you did start to get big Indian names turning up 100 games, I'm sure that would create a completely different dynamic.
It would be huge. It'd be huge. And I'm sure they're going to try and do that. That's what obviously the ECB want. Part of the reason for doing it was to get Indian players over for selling stakes to the IPL owners. But what I will say is, you look at the other franchise tournaments. So it's not the first time that IPL owners have bought into another tournament. There's the one in South Africa, so the SA20. They own some teams there. There's the Major League Cricket in America. They own some of the teams there. You've also got the ILT20. There's some of the franchises are owners of teams there. So they do own around the world already. And those Indian players don't play in those tournaments, right? You don't see Virat Kohli playing in the SA20. You don't see Yashasvi Jaiswal playing in America yet. So maybe that will change, but I would just be a bit wary of being too hopeful on that, because at the moment, BCCI very much like to keep their players to themselves.
Yeah. Now we mentioned Jofra Archer, but there's a decent chunk of English involvement in the IPL this year. Josh Butler's got off to a decent start, getting a 50 the other day. But there's a few of the usual suspects out there. Moeen's out there. Reece Topley, who seems to have disappeared off the England radar for some reason, but is still a very, very good T20 player. Liam Livingstone, Sam Curran, Jacob Bethel's out there. Obviously, we know about Harry Brooks, but I think these guys, particularly the less experienced or the lesser experienced of them, this will be an absolute learning curve for them.
Yeah, be really, really amazing for Jacob Bethel, I think, just to be involved. He didn't play in the first game. They picked Jacks and Livingston ahead of him, actually, which you would expect because they're more experienced players. But someone like him, just to be in and around that, he won't expect to play the whole tournament. If he just plays 5 games, that'd be great. He could play alongside Virat Kohli. He could play alongside some other big names as well. What an experience to be doing that and to be understanding the pressure of playing in front of 50,000 people, 60,000 people, going to an away game in India and they're all, baying for the home side and everyone wants you to get out. I think it'd be really, really interesting for him. Also, he's lucky he's at a franchise where they've got, I call him English. He's not English, really. Andy Flower is the head coach, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
He's an honorary Englishman. He coached England before. They've got Mo Bobat, who is the director of cricket, so he's an English guy. And then he's got the likes of Will Jacks, Liam Livingstone there as well, who can help him along. So it should be a franchise that he can settle into easily. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. I hope he gets few games. Great to see Mo still going, isn't it? Unbelievable, really. I wasn't expecting him to play much, and then Sunil Narayan gets ill. So who's your best option to replace Sunil Narayan? Well, Mo, basically, because he kind of does the same thing. So he came on and bowled really well. He bowled an absolute jaffer to get Nitish Rana. Who else did he got? Jaiswal out, picked up a couple of wickets, went for 20 odd runs. It's great to see him out there still doing well. Opened the batting, didn't get any runs, but yeah, makes me happy seeing Mo still able to get out there and do it. And then yeah, Phil Salt and Josh Butler both got 50s and
Yeah,
both look pretty good. I thought Phil Salt, he's had a season there already in the IPL. He's had a couple of seasons, but he's had one very good season with Kolkata last year. Surprised they let him go actually, and I think he could be a really good fit. Sorry, he's at RCB, isn't he? So not Jax is at Mumbai. I got that confused. Jax is at Mumbai. He's at RCB and was in the same franchise as Bethel. So he got a 50 odd in his first game, and I think he's going to be a really good signing for them because he won't be overawed by the IPL and played in it for a couple of seasons now. And Butler's Butler, so it could be a good tournament for him. He's not in charge of the side. He can just relax, limited pressure compared to internationals, and hopefully start enjoying his cricket again. And the signs are pretty good. He played pretty well the other day.
yeah, I think that's a good point because he was under so much intense pressure certainly in the England setup, and I think he just needs he needs time away from that, as you say, just relax, express himself, and it looks like he's doing that, and he's well versed to the whole circus atmosphere. But I mean, it's not just on the pitch; it's off the pitch as well. I mean, everywhere these teams go, you see the team buses heading to and from the hotels, and the hordes of people that are there to cheer them on or otherwise. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a different sport, like if you play cricket in India and you play anywhere else on the world, it's like you're playing a different sport. And it's important for the English players to get used to that. It's probably quite claustrophobic, I think, but for 2 months of the year, they will feel like absolute superstars. They'll feel like rock stars. And that bit probably is not the enjoyable bit. The bit that they need to learn how to deal with is, all the pressure that comes with all that when you go on the pitch. Are you going to let all that expectation get on top of you? And that's why I think it is important that as many English players as can go out there and experience it, particularly the young ones like Bethel. Because if you learn about that stuff early on, stands you in good stead when you get to World Cups, Champions Trophies, all that.
Well, I know it's early days. We're going to be going not a week, not even. Have you got any tips? I wouldn't say who do you think is going to win it because that's not a fair question, but what are the teams that you think will be ones that will be there towards the end and any players that we should be looking out for?
Well, funny you should ask, but last week I did a preview on the Sky Sports website actually, and made a couple of tips and predictions. You can read my weekly article actually if you fancy going on the Sky Sports website. I'm about to write one now, so it should be on tomorrow. Yeah, so I predicted. I mean, last year I said I thought Mumbai Indians might win it, and they came rock bottom. So you might not want to listen to what I'm saying. But generally, over the years I've been all right with my predictions. I reckon Sunrisers Hyderabad are a very good shout this year, and I said that before they got 286, by the way, in their first game. But yeah, last year their batting was just so frightening. They've added Ishan Kishan to their team, to their top three. He got 100 in his first game. They've got Heinrich Klaassen to come in, who is an unbelievable ball striker, and they've improved their bowling from last year. So they've kept Pat Cummins, but they've brought in who they brought in. I'm just remind myself. Look at their scorecard. They brought in Harshal Patel, Mohammed Shami to their 11, who I think are both really, really good additions for them. Because the kind of bowlers that they didn't have before. Shami will make a big difference in the power play. So I think Sunrisers might go one better. Got to the final last year and they won it. I think Delhi Capitals, keep an eye on them.
Yeah, yeah.
I picked them as a dark horse. So I don't think they're going to win it, but they've not been great for a few years. I think they'll be a bit better this year. I think they've signed pretty well as well. They've got Mitchell Stark, who I think was a big surprise that Kolkata let him go. So he's a really, really good buy. Because they didn't get Punt back, Punt went for an extraordinary amount of money, 27 crore. He got bought by Lucknow, highest ever. So that's £2.5 million. So with that money, they're able to buy basically KL Rahul, Faf du Plessis, and Mitchell Stark. So I think they've actually done pretty well out of that. And they squeaked over the line by 1 wicket. Really good game. Their first game, they beat Lucknow by 1 wicket. So keep your eye on Delhi Capitals. I don't think they'll win it, but I'll go with Sunrisers Hyderabad to lift the trophy this year. And I reckon Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head are going to get an extraordinary amount of runs, and they're going to get them extraordinarily quickly as well.
And of course, you can watch all of it on Sky Sports Cricket. You've been a busy man all over the winter. Every time I turn on Sky Sports, whether it's news or whatever else, there's your beaming face telling us all about. This is really a busy time now in the sort of the global world of sports. I mean, you've got obviously the IPL, which we're here talking about, but the Premier League with Moeen Ali's team Liverpool looking like they're gonna, or are they stumbling a bit, or is it in the bag?
Oh yeah, they're stumbling. Yeah, they're definitely stumbling, but they're too far ahead. I mean, my team Arsenal, we're not going to catch them. There's no way. I think they'll win fairly comfortably by 10 points, maybe even more in the end. Mainly because people behind, stumbling as well, and Arsenal have had so many injuries. We haven't got anyone to put the ball in the back of the net or even create much. So I don't think we can't catch them. Liverpool, I think, will definitely win it, but I just think something's missing at the moment. They're definitely going through a wobble at the moment. You get this Trent Alexander-Arnold stuff,
Yeah,
which we were talking about all week actually on Sky Sports News, but he's basically going to Real Madrid. It's not been agreed yet, but they're in talks and he's going to go. I think that's going to cause a bit of a problem because a lot of Liverpool fans are very upset that he wants to go. I personally think that he probably deserves a bit more respect than that and a better send off, but I don't think he's going to get it. I think he might even have a bit of a strange atmosphere directed towards him for the rest of the season, especially once it gets confirmed. So, and Van Dijk and Salah are still, their futures are still up in the air. Nothing's been sorted there. So it might be a slightly strange atmosphere at times at Anfield for the rest of the season. But yeah, I'm just so far ahead. Come on, Darren. Who's going to catch him?
Lewis Hamilton in his Ferrari.
Well, good to see him winning again, isn't it? But yeah, I think I think I think this season the Premier League, the relegation's done.
Yeah,
Probably the champions are done. It's going to be all about who gets in the top five this year because it's going to be top five for Champions League, not top four. So it's going to be interesting to see if someone like Chelsea or Man City or Newcastle misses out because they can't all get in. So that'll be the sort of interest for the end of the season.
well, it's been great catching up, and I'm just sort of thinking I've got to rein myself in because I want to talk about all kinds of different sports and things, but we should really keep it to the IPL and to cricket.
Let's talk about Kabaddi.
Do you know what? I just found something out today. The IPL is the biggest watched sport in India, and number two is kabaddi.
Yeah.
Kabaddi's
Kabaddi,
a
kabaddi, kabaddi,
serious
kabaddi,
business, isn't
kabaddi,
it?
kabaddi, kabaddi, kabaddi. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's I tell you what, I actually don't really, I'll confess, I don't know the rules properly. But every time I go to India, it's always on and I really vibe with it. Like if you like rugby, for example, you like contact sport, you ever played British Bulldog? Do you remember that
yeah.
at school? I used to love playing that. If you like all that stuff, bit of wrestling as well, you will like kabaddi. I just need to properly understand the rules, but it's exciting. Yeah, it's and they're agile. These guys, they're big guys. It's contact sport. Yeah, it's very popular there. I think Dhoni involves himself in one of the teams. He might even own a team. I think by the Super League or whatever they call it out there. But yeah, We should all get into it. Let's get
I'm
into it. Let's
going
talk
to have to get
podcast on
Dharmesh Seth on, and he can explain it to us. I'm sure he's an expert.
it. He won't have a clue.
All right, Matt. Brilliant talking and catching up as always. All the best with the IPL coverage and everything else that you're doing at Sky and elsewhere. And we will catch up soon.
Will do. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.